Okay, great. Well, it's great to hear from Alison because I have a lot of respect for what she's done, and if you don't know her, you should get to know her. So my name is Cydni Washington. I'm the CEO at Ardusat. So about 2014, about March of 2014, I'm sitting in Structure's offices. I was one of their early employees, and we had all the signs of a very successful company. People were riding scooters, the next meeting, there's free food in the kitchen, and it was a pretty great place to be. And that time, we were on track to do the IPO. And I'm looking around and I'm aching to do a startup. I wanted to be back into that nitty-gritty side of rolling up your sleeves, getting on your hands and knees, and just doing whatever it takes to get the job done. So I was approached by a company out in the Bay Area called Spire Global, and they build and launch tiny microsatellites, satellites that fly in space. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to provide a platform so that students could run experiments in space. And they approached me and they said, listen, you know education, we know how to build satellites, we don't know how to work in education, so would you be willing to build a company that would use that? And I thought, wow, this is a pretty incredible opportunity. I get the opportunity to pursue education, which was my passion from the get-go, but then I also had the opportunity to work in space, and who doesn't want to work in space? So I jumped on board, and in my head, I had the perfect scenario. What you do is you raise capital, right? You raise capital, you pitch 10 times, you get one term sheet, others investors join, you negotiate the contract, and you sign the contract. Happens in about, 45 days? And if that's happened to you, I hate your guts. But I'm telling you, it does not happen that way. And if I had to describe, raising money and building a startup, it looks very much like this infographic here. If you haven't seen it, you will experience some version of this graphic. And sometimes you're experimenting and pivoting is longer, and sometimes it's shorter. And the goal is to get to product market fit so that you can scale your business. Now, what's going to give you the ability to have that time is capital. You need money. You need money to keep that running. Now, you can get money through sales and revenue, or you can get money through investors, or you can get it through a loan. Now, sales and revenue is great, but when you're building a business and you don't really know what your product's going to be, and you don't really know if the market wants it, and you don't really know if people are willing to pay for it, it's really hard to get some revenue to survive a business. So you can look at getting outside funding. So that's what we did. We very much are in this at the start working phase. I would say that we're in about 2 years now. And when I talk about raising capital, I use this comparison a lot, but I would compare it to like the worst social event ever, which is a junior high school dance, right? That it lasts about 6 to 9 months. So if you can think of how terrible that is, you're uncomfortable in your body, you don't know if you fit in, you think everyone's got it figured out but you, and you just want to fit in. And I think that's really what raising capital is like. Now, one of my most favorite quotes that I heard recently was by the gentleman of Ben Horowitz. Ben's a well-known entrepreneur, well-known investor, and in more colorful language, he more or less explains it's not checkers, it's chess. And that's 100% true. Chess is much more complicated, way more rules, way more players, and every player has their own set of moves that they can do. And in order to be a good chess player, you should be thinking about 5 moves in advance. And that's really hard for us to do because we don't inherently think like that. As entrepreneurs, you're optimistic. You think, I'm going to have plan A, and then you don't anticipate being kicked in the gut and then having to move on to the next plan and being dynamic like that. And I'm convinced that anyone who's been through this process, that's a #1 distinguishing factor, is whether or not you can get back up and go back at it again. And you can take these small losses. I say losses with air quotations, but you take these losses and you go and do the next thing. Now, there was a situation one time, had all the great signs of an investor coming on. We liked them, they liked us, they liked our business, we were friends, and I thought, this is gonna work out. I'm riding on tracks to get to the office. I get an email on my phone and it says, basically the email was like, it's not me, it's me, it's not you. Yeah, that thing. I've heard it so much, I can't get it straight. So I hear that and I think, oh my gosh, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, this guy just passed. And I looked at my phone, I looked at the stranger sitting right across from me, and I said to her, what am I gonna do now? And then I realized I'm that crazy person, right, that talks to themselves on the track. But, you know, by the time I got to the stop, got to the office, you know what we did? I got together with my co-founder, called up a mentor, talked through the situation, and we were on the next move, and we just didn't have time to dwell. And there are moments, it's so hard, you literally want to crawl in your bed, throw the covers over you, and say, this is just too hard. But the strong entrepreneur is the one that gets up and keeps going at it. Now, the other thing that I would recommend when you're kind of going through this process, because honestly, raising money and navigating a deal is more of an art, less of a science, is that you need to surround yourself with a really good network of people. You need people who are going to give you outside perspective, not the ones that are going to be nice to you and don't tell you when you have something in your teeth. You need the people that are going to point out the things that are in your teeth. Because what's happening is when you're in the situation, you're making the Kool-Aid, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, you're swimming in your own Kool-Aid. And you really need to have that outside perspective of, hey, this is what I think is wrong and this is what's going to get you through it. So from my perspective, you know, I think it's you know, I probably talked you out of raising money at this point, which was not my intent. It is hard, but I got to tell you, when you're going and building a business, there's nothing, the lows are low. I mean, they're so hard, they're hard. But when you have that high point, when you know that you've built an amazing product, where you've got a team of kick-ass and people around you that are going to support and are loyal to the vision, and you're doing good things and you feel like you're building a product that's making a difference, you know, you can't replace that feeling with anything else. So I encourage you to try it. I encourage you to have the perseverance to get through it, and thank you for having me today.